The Roman-made mother, 12 inches long, 10.5 ounces. This bait is not practical at all. Or is it? We're gonna find out in today's video. I'm gonna be fishing this bait every single trip I go fishing until I catch a fish on it. This could be a one-day thing, like I'm gonna catch a fish here in the next 5 minutes, or this could be a 40-trip mission. But we're gonna find out how long it's actually gonna take me to actually catch a fish on this incredible lure. So we're gonna see how long it takes. Hopefully you guys enjoy this video. Let's go. First bite right there. That was a good fish. Oh, freaking smoked it. Oh, my heart's pounding. Oh, my heart is pounding, dude. Wow. Oh my God, dude. Holy God damn it, dude. I don't know if you guys just saw that, but holy shit. It might happen today. Oh my God. Holy shit, dude. That thing smoked it. Another bite, dude. Oh, shit. Oh my God, dude, that was a fucking giant one. What's up?
Are you getting them?
Just bites today.
Just bites?
Yeah. How about yourself?
Just two, but nothing. It's not as good as I thought it should be.
Yeah. I mean, they're here. It's just acting weird. On the mother. Let's go. Woo, doggy. Come on, son. There it is. A Roman-made motherfish. right there. It only took one trip to do it, but man, that is so sick. Woo, doggy. Nice. On the mother, boys. Not even a big fish, probably like a 3.5. Wow, unbelievable. Thanks, buddy. You're free. We actually did it today. Today was one of the most exceptional days I've ever had on this lake. That's 4 bites on the Roman-made mother in one day. Normally, I'll only ever get one single bite on it if I ever threw it. And today just so happened to get really, really lucky, and we actually caught one. I genuinely can't believe it. We're gonna keep fishing this wall section and maybe catch another one. So that was the day with this guy here, the Roman-made mother. Honestly, I was not expecting to actually catch a fish today. That lake doesn't really pump out a lot of swim bait fish for me in general, especially when I throw a bait of this caliber and size. Normally, it's super clear water there, and I just get a ton of followers. And it gets really annoying, obviously, when every trip you're throwing a bait of this size, you're getting 20, 30, 40, 50 plus followers a day, but they never actually commit to the bait. So for whatever reason, whether it was the moon phase or me being out there a little bit earlier in the morning, the fish just decided to actually bite this bait today. This bait, at the end of the day, it's not very practical at all. I mean, this bait takes a huge amount of dedication and understanding of your body of water, different times of the year, what the fish are feeding on, and a whole wide variety of different things for things to actually go right. The reason why I think those fish were actually active today is, one, the fish have been kind of feeding on small striper that are like 10 to 12 inches long, as well as white bass. So really, when this thing's swimming along, I think those big fish, they're just looking at this as like, oh, here comes a striper that we've seen. We're just gonna absolutely smoke it. Out there on that lake, those striper right now, those small striper and white bass, they're all over the lake, and they're feeding on like super micro bait that are like jumping out there, right? So what a lot of guys have been saying and seeing out there is that underneath these striper boils are these larger grade bass that are just feeding on those stripers. So throwing this bait right now worked only because of that. If it was a different time of the year when the fish were more keyed in on like shad, like threadfin, and that 2 to 3 inches, that's when you get a bunch of followers on this bait. But once you figure out the time of year when your fish are feeding more actively on some of that bigger prey item, this is when a bait like this really comes out and shines. Obviously, with the size of this bait, it has incredible drawing power. So in that clear water, I can pull fish that are in 15, 20 feet of water, come shooting up and absolutely smoking this bait. Today, we were mainly focusing on fishing those vertical walls that you guys saw. These walls are 100 feet high, and they can be in 100 feet too, depending on the water level. And for me, I've always loved fishing walls. I've caught a ton of fish on walls. I've seen some absolute giant fish that sit on the walls. Walls are just a fantastic place to throw a glide bait. One, because those fish, it seems like when they're sitting on a wall, those fish are actively there to hunt and sit up, whether it's underneath a ledge or behind a point of a rock. So when that bait comes, those fish want to come out and hit the bait as fast as they can, because if the bait sees the fish, then it can just shoot out into open water and it's gone. So running this bait tight to those walls, so where those fish are like looking at it like this as it passes by, it gives them a chance to come out and just absolutely smoke the bait. Another thing that I noticed today is on some of those bites that we ended up getting, and some of those followers that come out pretty hot on the bait, is they're coming out in pairs or in 3s or 4s. And once you bring in more than one fish, it kind of starts like this this competition factor of like, nah, dude, I want to eat this. You're not going to have it. And so a lot of times you can have those bigger fish get a little more fired up when there's other fish around. and they'll be more willing to just hit the bait out of like, hey, I've got to eat this before any of these other suckers do it. So one of the bites we had today, the one that I clipped, one fish came up, another fish came up, and another fish came up, and I was able to kind of snap the bait a couple times, and one of those fish kind of broke from the group, came up and kind of like just nipped the hooks and just somehow didn't get hooked. But throwing a bait of this caliber and size, it's definitely not like an everyday, every situation type of bait. Just because it's not really that fun to fish, just because it's so big and it requires a very specific rod and reel and line. Like, it's not a very fun bait to fish. However, in certain situations, like right now, the bite isn't that great. However, throwing a bait of this size is going to draw fish where those fish on that particular body of water, they never see baits of this caliber and size. A lot of those guys that fish that lake are going to be throwing like 6, 7, maybe 8-inch size swim baits. But once you throw a bait of this caliber and size, it just has such incredible drawing power. It's unlike any other swim bait really that I fish. It's just unbelievable how far and how many fish this bait will actually show you. And speaking of fish, the fish that I caught today was probably like a high 3. I don't even think it was 4 pounds. But the other ones that bit the bait were in that like 4 to 6 pound range. And for me, when I think of a bait of this caliber and size, I think of like true giant largemouth. I'm talking, 8, 9, 10 plus pound fish that are going to hit this bait. However, today it kind of showed that like, no, dude, it doesn't have to be absolute giant fish that have to hit this bait. It's quite shocking how small a fish that will hit this bait for whatever reason. I know a lot of guys are too intimidated by some of these bigger, heavier glide baits, whether it's like a hinkle trout, a mother, obviously, a ghost, where they're like, oh, my body of water doesn't have 8 to 10, 12 plus pound fish in it. A big one in my pond is like a 5 or 6 pounder. And I'm like, well, that's great. But if you throw something a little bit larger, maybe you can pull that caliber of fish that you've never even noticed or seen before, just because you've always kind of stuck with that 6 or 7 inch glide bait. Once you throw a bait of this caliber and size, it really does bring out those much bigger fish. Well, I guess that does it for the Roman Made Mother challenge. It took one day and honestly a few minutes to just even get bit on it. Well, I might just need to find a different bait that might be a little more challenging than this guy, and I think I might have the lure. So stay tuned. We're going to try the DRT Frenzy. I know this one will actually probably take some time. For just a quick size comparison, yeah, it's a little bigger, but I've caught fish actually on the Frenzy out on the same lake before, and maybe we can do a repeat. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching today's video. It was a fun morning. Catching a mother fish is always fun. It's such an iconic swim bait. It's a swim bait that I've always loved and have seen for many, many years, and to still catch them on it is really, really cool. So thank you guys ever so much for watching, and as always, go out there and chase your dreams.